Guitar and music friends, how are you all doing? And of course, welcoming any friends of the ukulele out there, formerly known as Ukulele Friends. It's so good to see you. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk to you about my new album, So Long and Thanks for All the Inspiration, which should be out now and streaming on all platforms. It should be on my SoundCloud, YouTube, and all the streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, and so on. So Long and Thanks for All the Inspiration is a ukulele based album. A number of years ago I bought this ukulele and I just started writing songs on it. And I started recording the songs, and that then became my third solo album. Yes, all the songs were written and recorded on this here ukulele. The album was recorded in a number of different places. The drums for the album were recorded at a place I used to live called The Flat, and all the guitars and ukuleles and everything else were recorded here at Traul Studios. The album artwork was done by my long-term musical brethren Cy Paul, who also played drums on the album. As you can see, it's based on an old radio, and it's not a concept album at all, but I guess if there is a concept, then it is old radios. And basically when I was young, I used to have an old wireless, as they used to be called, and I was transfixed how these wooden boxes could grab these signals that were in the air and bring them back to you through this box, and you could listen to it and you could pick up signals from all around the world. It used to fascinate me. So the album starts with a jumbled load of radio signals, and the radio channel we're tuned into is called 408.9. Now, as you listen to this intro piece, you'll hear a whole load of references in there. I've done a load of voiceovers and silly radio presenter voices. There's references to my old band Slip Down Dog, and it all kind of builds, and then it goes into the first tune, which is called So Bad, Out the Front. Now, what does that mean? Those of you who are musicians will know what the term out the front means. Basically, it means the front of house PA and what the crowd hear when you are doing a gig. This song is basically about what I call the musician's curse. You can do a gig, some of you might know who have done gigs, done a lot of gigs, that sometimes you have great gigs and sometimes you have not so great gigs. And creative types tend to go home and beat themselves up about the one thing they did wrong amongst the 1,000 things they did right. So Bad Out the Front is basically about that. It's about a gig I did with my old band Slip Down Dog, and everyone was in the crowd just looking at their phones, and it gets quite annoying after a while. So the first song is about that. It's basically about a bad gig and saying to the crowd, look, if you just give a little bit back, then we'll give you a little bit more. That's the way the relationship between a band and a crowd should be. It's a secular relationship, if you like. They're feeding you and you are feeding them. Cy Paul, as I said, played drums on the entire album. He played drums on this song. My very good friend, buddy, love, Chris White, he did all the backing vocals on the entire album. He did the backing vocals on this track as well. On the electric guitar is my friend Jay O'Connor. I played bass and I played all the keys and everything else on this track. Next up is the track Heart Don't Fit. This is basically, I guess it's kind of a breakup song, if you like, but it's said through the eyes, I guess. There's references to clothes, and if someone has clothes which they've kind of worn out and they don't wear anymore, and they just throw it at the bottom of their wardrobe. It's kind of, I guess you could say that's a metaphor for the relationship. Again, this song has got Cy playing drums, it's got me playing bass on it, I believe, of course ukulele. I'm playing ukulele through on all these tracks. I'm trying to think what else happened on this track. Oh, Jay does a great fuzz solo. The guitar he used for that, I believe, It was a Harmony Stratotone. It's either that or his custom shop telly that he had. Yeah, so I really like this. It's kind of a bit more of a rocky, upbeat kind of bouncy ukulele song. Next up, we have a small intro piece, another radio excerpt intro piece if you want, from 408.9, and this one references my old band I used to be in. I used to be in a rock band and I played electric guitar, and you know, it was a bit more riffy, a bit more rocky, a bit Incubus-y. We were in that band for about 5-6 years. And when the band broke up, of course, I thought it would be a great time to go solo, and that's when I started my solo career. So this song, Zubina Zubina, is basically a love song to my old band, Zubina. It talks about how I felt when the band broke up, and, you know, dealing with that, because as you know, if you've been in a band, and the band breaks up, it is like a relationship breaking up. The only problem is there's, you know, you're breaking up with 3 people or 4 people, or how many people are in your band. So it can be hard. So Zubina Zubina, that is what that song is about. Again, Si's playing drums on this one. I'm playing this secular kind of rhythm. I think I play everything else. Si's playing drums, Buddy's on backing vocals, and I'm doing everything else. Then the Whoa song, another kind of tongue-in-cheek song here, an upbeat kind of bouncy song, just about you might be at a place in your life when you're questioning your choices and where you're going and things like that. So the Whoa song, it's basically just, you know, sometimes you're having a bad day and you say, whoa. No one ever says that. But I thought it'd be catchy for the song. So I really like this one. Again, Si's playing drums. And there's another great solo from my friend Jay, who's doing a fuzz solo. More backing vocals from Buddy. And I think I'm doing everything else. Next up, Don't Wanna Go Home, Uke Punk. So we used to have a rehearsal space that kind of was also a flat where people could stay and chill out, and we recorded a load of albums there, and it's actually where all the drums were recorded for this album. So Don't Wanna Go Home is just saying I want to stay in the studio, I want to stay recording, I want to stay having a good time with my friends, and I really don't want to go home. I'm sure we've all felt that feeling. On this song, Si is playing cajon. We've got a new bass player on this one. A gentleman called Jamie Thornton is playing the upright double bass. My wife, Tracy Voden, is singing backing vocals on this, and she is also the voice of the wife who comes in at one point and says, "Get here!" So she did all the wife parts in the song, and also amazing backing vocals. Then we go into what I guess you could call the first ballad of the album, which isn't really a ballad, One More Song. Now, One More Song, I guess you could say, is what I like to call a musical shit sandwich. You start with some really nice mellow stuff, then you give the listener a bunch of shit to deal with, and then you give them a bunch of nice stuff at the end to try and kind of ease the load. That's what One More Song is. I'm not going to lie to you and say it's an easy song to listen to. It is a tough listen, I'm not going to lie. Some of you might want to skip this one. Some of you might listen to it and think it's really intriguing and get something from it. I hope that someone out there gets something from it. If not, then whatever. People often say that the best art is the art which is the truest to the artist, and I guess you could say that about One More Song. I don't want to go into it too deeply here. Just listen to it and see what you think. If you make it through, then I commend you. Thank you so much for listening to that song, and if you get something from it, amazing. The last song on the album, which was initially a B-side, but in the spirit of Neil Young, I thought give the listener more. So I put it on the album. It's called Remember Last Year, and I guess you could say it's a bit more country vibes going on this one. Cy again recorded drums. I think we recorded the drums with just one mic because I just wanted that room kind of old school feel, so we just put a mic up and recorded, and it's that really kind of lazy beat anyway, very Neil Young kind of style beat, and it's basically about a situation I went through, the end of one relationship, the beginning of a fling, and then the end of the fling. That's basically what that song is about. So that is the end of the album. It's just a 7-track album. I think, you know, that's enough for listeners these days. And I think there is a lot of content on this album. Some of the tracks had 70 tracks of audio when I'm mixing them. I remember Buddy, who did all the backing vocals. He was actually in Berlin in a hotel room and recorded all the backing vocals on a Zoom recorder and then sent me them through transfer, and I imported them and then mixed them in. So it really is great making music with friends like that, and we live in a great day and age where we can do things like that. Record a song, send it to a friend, they can do their bit and send it back. It's a great time to be making music. There we go. So that's my 3rd solo album. Thank you so much for listening to it. I'll see you all again next time. Munkus out! There's a man pushing his bin outside while I'm trying to film. Today's Friday. Bin Day's Wednesday. What's he doing? Bin head!